Hare Krishna, Rukmini, Hare Sevani, please make me the post so that I can share the screen.
Yes, mother.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept our humble obeisances. I would like to just introduce you. So, Her Grace Divya Lila Mataji is a faculty from the Mayapur Institute, and Mataji is a disciple of His Holiness Shaipadaga Swami Maharaj. She got initiated in 2003, and she has rendered various services in her yatra in the Middle East. So, while living and preaching there, she also completed her Bhakti Shastri through the Mayapur Institute. Then Mataji moved to Mayapur in 2012, and there she did Bhakti Vaibhav also. And then she was invited to join the faculty at the Mayapur Institute for Vaishnavis. So Mataji is very much recognized for her loving and caring nature, her motherly attitude, her command on shlokas, and the way she presents the concepts, even challenging concepts, she presents in a very simplified manner and practical way to understand. So students can easily imbibe her unflinching allegiance to Srila Prabhupada and how her deep understanding is there of the relationship between Vedic culture and Krishna consciousness. So apart from the other regular Shastri courses, she also teaches the Krishna Conscious Grasta Ashram course with her husband, Her Grace Harilila Prabhu, which is a must attend for all the householders as well as those who are aspiring to enter Grasta Ashram and Grasta counselors. So this course is based exclusively on the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, and it is based on the fine philosophy as well as the realizations which they have based on their journey as a Krishna conscious family. So apart from serving as a faculty at Mayapur Institute, Mataji also teaches Bhakti Shastri for the senior girls at the MI, Mayapur International School. So thank you so much, Mataji, for teaching us, and we are very fortunate to have you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Just give me a minute. I'm having some technical issues in sharing screen. Just give me a minute.
Sure.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So is the screen visible for everyone?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji.
Yes, mother.
Okay. Thank you. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Yes. Yeah. Welcome to the Unit 3 Bhakti Shastri, Chapter 13 to 18, which is considered to be the Jnana section, right? So before proceeding, in Bhagavad Gita, we divide into 3 sections. So what are they? Can someone quickly say what are the 3 sections and each section constitutes? What? Can someone tell me? Please share. We have 16 devotees here. Can someone raise your hand or I can point out? Krishna Priya Dasi, can you say what are the 3 sections of Bhagavad Gita?
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam Mataji.
Yeah, please,
Three
can you
sections.
switch on your video? We are personalists, we are not impersonalists.
Hare
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji.
From 1st to 6, it is Karma Yoga. Then from
Okay.
7 to 12, it was Bhakti Yoga. And from 13 to 18, it is going to be Jnana Yoga.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you so much, Krishna Priya Mataji. Thank you for switching on your video so that I can see your beautiful face. And yes, so Karma Yoga, we see Bhakti, we see Jnana. It looks like Krishna speaks about Bhakti only in the middle 6 chapters, isn't it? But it's not so. Because before explaining each yogas, right? What are the 3 kinds of yoga which Krishna explains? Can someone come up with that? What are the kinds of yoga which Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita? We discussed the three like how each 6 chapters constitute each topic, karma, jnana, and bhakti. What are the, in general, within the 6 chapters, the first 6 chapters? Yes, Shubham Bharatwaj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Mataji, in 2nd chapter, Krishna has talked about Sankhya Yoga,
Okay.
then Karma Yoga in 3rd chapter, 4th and 5th, it is more about Jnana Yoga, and then we see
Okay.
Bhakti Yoga.
Okay. Jnana Yoga, you said. Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, yes, you said. Jnana Yoga. Then after Dhyana? After
Bhakti.
Dhyana. Oh.
Dhyan Yoga. Jnana Yoga, then
yes.
Dhyan Yoga, then
Yes,
Bhakti
yes,
Yoga.
yes. Thank you. Thank you for it. Thank you for that. So we see that Krishna has spoken these yogas. Yes, Sankhya we see in 2nd chapter. Yes, as you said, I don't want to repeat it. But before explaining each yoga, before explaining Karma Yoga, before explaining Jnana Yoga, before explaining Dhyana Yoga, Krishna established the supremacy of Bhakti. Krishna established the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga before explaining each yoga. Okay. So can someone tell me in 3rd chapter, which verse speak about the supremacy of Bhakti? Before Krishna starts speaking about Karma Yoga, which verse spoke about the supremacy of Bhakti? Which verse speaks about the supremacy of Bhakti before Karma Yoga? Krishna establishes the supremacy of Bhakti. Okay, so no problem. I can say it is 3.9. Yajnatat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, it relieves you from all bondage in this material world. So, which is directly Krishna establishes the supremacy of Bhakti before explaining Karma Yoga. Then next comes Jnana Yoga. So before explaining Jnana Yoga, Krishna establishes the supremacy of Bhakti before he speaks Jnana Yoga. So in 4th chapter, I'm giving the clue. 4th chapter, what's the verse? It speaks about the supremacy of Bhakti in chapter 4. Yes, Shubham Bharatwaj Prabhuji.
Mataji, 4.9.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Janma karma chame divyam yevam yoveti tatvatah. Yes, continue. Tyaktva deham punarjanma.
Punarjanma, neti mamiti so Arjuna.
Arjuna. That transcendent. Before, what is that knowing Krishna's birth and activities? You will get to know the Krishna's birth and activities by devotionals. That is the bhakti. This is the supremacy of bhakti. Then next, before explaining dhyana, he establishes the supremacy of bhakti. That is sin. You can give the clue or you can find out. Okay, chapter 5. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, which was Krishna explains the supremacy of bhakti. Yes, Vaibhavi Tiwari. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. I believe it's 5.29.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatvam Om Shantim Bachiti. One who can attain peace, one who understand all the things mentioned by the Supreme Lord. Only a devotee can understand this, so that is why he achieves peace, Shanti. Right? Of course, we know before explaining dhyana, he establishes that, and then what is the conclusion in the sixth chapter? We all know that among all the yogis, the bhakti yogi is the highest. That's how Krishna concluded in 6.47. So even though we deal that section as karma yoga, but Krishna establishes the supremacy of bhakti over each yoga. And then comes, of course, the middle section 7 to 12 is the bhakti. And then the 13 to 18, which we are going to dwell from today, which is the obstacles in the path of pure devotional service. What are the obstacles in a jiva's journey in his path of pure devotional service? So that is why this section is called as Jnana Yoga. So we are linking with the Lord through this knowledge which is given by the Supreme Lord. And that knowledge is the obstacles in the path of pure devotional service. Okay, so this is the significance. So it is not one, it is in the middle chapters, yes, full and full bhakti. And in the initial 6 chapters, Krishna establishes the supremacy of bhakti. In the last 6 chapters, we see the obstacles. So this chapter starts with 6 questions asked by Arjuna. Why Arjuna is asking these 6 questions? Because we don't see any connection. Because in the 12th chapter, we saw how Krishna explains the different qualities that how one can become dear to Krishna. That's what we saw. Santushta, so many Satatam Yogi, so many things. Nirapeksha, Anidaksha, Udasino, Gatavyata, Sarvaramba, Parityagi. So many things we discussed. The 26 qualities of a pure devotee we discussed. So that is what Krishna said. The purpose of human life is to do pure devotional service. That is the purpose of human life. So for that, the jiva has to fall in love with the Supreme Lord. That is the conclusion of the 12th chapter. And we also discussed that how one can become dear to him. That's what the last shloka discusses. Then the question comes, now what stops the jiva to become dear to him? To become what does it stops the jiva to become dear to him? So Arjuna is going to deal with those things. The questions asked by Arjuna in this particular 1 and 2 verses. Why specifically these 6 questions? Because human life is revolved around these 6 items, which Arjuna is asking. Because in this verse, if we see Prakriti, nature, Purusha, enjoyer, Kshetra is the body, Kshetrajna is the knower of the body. So a person who is actually not able to fall in love with Krishna. Why? Because he thinks that the nature is meant for me. Nature is meant for my enjoyment. I am the enjoyer. So, Purusha. Kshetra, I am the body. Jiva thinks like that, right? That's the problem, that we think that we are the body. And Kshetrajna is the knower of the body. I think that I know my body perfectly and completely. So I meant to enjoy the material nature. It is meant for my enjoyment. I identify myself with this body, and I consider that I know everything about this body. And whatever will bring me sense gratification, whatever will bring me sense gratification, I consider that as knowledge. That is jnana. And jnaya. Jnaya is the object of knowledge. In the present situation, I consider sense gratification is the purpose of human life. So, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya. So, because I think in this way, I turn away my face from Krishna. So, Arjuna is asking these things in context to the explanation which he gave in the middle 6 chapters. Because he wants to understand the right usage of Prakriti and who is the Purusha and what is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana and Jnaya in the right way. Because right now, the human having this confusion. So that is why Arjuna is asking this question, because generally human misunderstand these 6. That is why purposely he asking this question, so that the human society will know exactly the role of Prakriti, who is Purusha, and Jnana, what is Jnaya, all these things. And we know the essence of all the Upanishads is pure devotional service. That is what we dealt in the middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12. Pure devotional service, pure devotional service, pure devotional. Ananya, Ananya, Ananya Bhakti. We dealt with Ananya Bhakti. So, if the essence of Upanishads is in pure devotional service, but Krishna gave all this knowledge right from 2nd chapter to chapter 12 in a normal language. He did not use Upanishadic language, which is conversational now. Like he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Then manmanabhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Like that, he uses a simple language until chapter 12. But Arjuna wanted to confirm that the same message which Krishna has given throughout from 2 to 12 is also the messages of the Upanishads. That is the reason why he starts his question in the Upanishadic style. If we see the 13th chapter, the whole 13th chapter is in Upanishadic style. Because Arjuna wanted to confirm the same message which Krishna is given is also the message of the Upanishads. So I hope it is clear for all the devotees. I think we are here 16 devotees I see here. Is there any doubt in this? Why Arjuna? Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji,
Yes.
please accept my humble
Hare
obeisances.
Krishna.
So Mataji, just one question. After hearing directly from Krishna about the pure devotional service, are not the doubts of Arjuna dispelled before asking this question?
Yeah. So again, we have to remember that Arjuna is seemingly ignorant. He is not ignorant. He is clearing the path for us, so that we will come to know that because our whole our human life is circulating among this. Like, I think I want to enjoy the nature. I am the enjoyer, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. So in order to know the real enjoyer and why the Prakriti is there, and who is Kshetrajna, what is Jnana Neya, the right Jnana, the right Neya will be explained by the Supreme Lord, so that we, Jiva, will be enlightened and we will understand, yes, the obstacles, what are the obstacles which is actually stopping me to take up pure devotional service. Arjuna is convinced. Arjuna, for him, he doesn't even have to actually have this conversation. In the beginning itself, Prabhupada cleared it, right? He's seemingly ignorant, so that Arjuna is clearing the path for the people who actually learn the messages of Bhagavad Gita. Personally, he is convinced, but he wants to prove that what Upanishad says also is the same message which is given by the Supreme Lord, which is pure devotional service. So that is why he is asking the questions in Upanishadic style. So is it clear, Prabhu? You are happy?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll just read the text, then we will have the discussion. So, I'd like to have it as more of interactive. So wherever we need some explanations, I can give, but I would like to have it as much as interactive. So please be ready with the purports. That's why I told devotees to read the assignment, so that we can discuss some important aspects in the purport, and what is the take-home message for us, and what can we apply in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So that's it. That's my request from my side. So let us recite the verse. Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrageva cha etad veditum ichchami jnanam neyam cha keshava. The Lord replies, the Sri Bhagavan uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate etad yo veti tam prahu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. Normally people think it's 13 chapters, like, it's so philosophical, 13, 14. But believe me, this is my favorite chapter in Bhagavad Gita. Especially, I mean, of course, I like all chapters, but especially my favorite is 13. So what is the reading order, Rukmini Hari said? We'll go alphabetical order in reading the translation.
One devotee can read few verses like this. We can go for 5-10 minutes. One devotee, then next devotee can raise the hand and can ask that I can read like this. We do.
Can we have alphabetical order? That will be more organized.
Yes, yes.
I see Akriti is the first alphabet. Can you please read the translation for us with your video on? Okay. Yes. Anybody else? Daya? Who is Daya? Can you read the translation?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Go ahead.
Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kuntiya, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field."
Okay, so because human misunderstands this 6, that is why specifically Arjuna is asking this question in order to know in the right context in Krishna consciousness. That's why he's asking this question in order to clarify for all the living entities, especially the humans. So we should know about Prakriti, nature. What normally a human thinks that this nature is for my enjoyment. I am the enjoyer. I am the body. So the field is the body. So please know the Sanskrit term, Prakriti, material nature. Yes, Purusha, the enjoyer. Field, Kshetra is called the field. So now this body is the field. In the field, we can cultivate. And what we are supposed to cultivate, we will see in the later shlokas. Knower of the field, I am thinking that I know this body. And knowledge, I said sense gratification, whatever knowledge I can get in order to get sense gratification, I would like to take that knowledge, that is jnana. And object of knowledge, sense gratification is the object of knowledge, that is jnana. That is what the misunderstanding. Because we have this misunderstanding, Arjuna wants to actually make it clear for us. Why Prakriti? Prakriti is meant for what? Who is the real enjoyer? And who is the knower? And what is knowledge? And what is the object of knowledge? Object of knowledge is jnana. So everything is clear in the word-to-word translation. But I request you that you read again after this discussion is over, like probably when we come tomorrow, read this section, whatever we are covering today, and then the next day's section. So first, what Krishna is saying, this body is called the field, which is Kshetra, and one who knows this body, knower of the field, it is the Kshetrajna. So this Krishna answers. So in the purport, we will see some significant statements from Prabhupada. Yeah, please, Daya, can you read? And whoever is reading the translation, they have to read the purport so that the next person can continue with the next verse on the significant point in the purport. So please continue, Daya.
Okay. Arjuna was
Please
interested.
read the highlighted part. What I have highlighted in different colors, please read that. We are not going to read the entire purport.
Okay. The conditioner soul wants to enjoy sense gratification, and according to his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or field of activity. Therefore, the body is called Kshetra, or the field of activity for the conditioned soul. Now, the person who should not identify himself with the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field.
So Prabhupada made it clear. What is the field of activity? The body is the field of activity. For a dog, what is the field of activity?
Body.
What body?
Dog's body.
Dog's body is the field of activity. So according to one's capacity to enjoy sense gratification, accordingly, different sense organs are created, and accordingly, he is offered a body, which is the field of activity, which is Kshetra, for the conditioned soul. So for the elephant's body is the field of activity. Same way for human, this human body is the field of activity. And then Prabhupada is clarifying, one who should not identify himself with the body. That who refers to whom? Who refers to whom?
The body in human being, all living entity.
Now the person who should not identify himself with the body. Who refers to whom?
Jiva.
Yeah, in English, what we call?
Living entity.
Living entity.
No, living entity, when it is conditioned, we call living entity. What is the
Soul.
Yes.
Soul.
The soul who should not identify himself with the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. So 2 words we completed. Kshetra is the field of activity, which is body. Kshetrajna is the soul. He is the knower of the field. Yes, Daya, please.
Mataji, then there are like many kind of living entity. So
Okay.
all kind of living entity are not enjoying. Some of the form of living entity are suffering only. Is it like that?
I didn't understand your question. The basic purpose for the living entity, lower forms or whatever forms, because we wanted to enjoy separately from the Supreme Lord. That is why we are ultimately here in this material world in different species. But of course, that you mean to say that human life is not suffering? In human life, are we not suffering?
Yes, we are suffering, but we are in a misconception of that we are not suffering. But the my question is that the living entity which they do not have brain, are they like suffering or enjoying? Is there any sense gratification for them?
Definitely, that is the reason why all living entities are there, right? According to their level, whatever sense gratification they can have, not like human beings. Kind of human being, of course, have a highest degree of sense gratification, which is bit not like compared to the demigods in the heavenly planets, but in a sophisticated way. I think you got the answer, right?
Yes, I could
See,
answer, but
dog is the economic needs of dog is also met, but not in the way how the economic needs of a human is met. Like, for example, a dog eats a roti which is lying in the mud, right? His economic need is met. But can a human eat the same which is fallen in the mud?
No. Mataji, actually, I belong from something like I am a microbiology. Microbiology is something I have studied in detail. So, like the organism which are living entity, like one cell. What is sense gratification for them?
You have to find out. You are a microbiology student, right? Of course, see. Okay, just coming back to the point. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, it's there in all kinds of species, right?
Yes, there.
Yeah, according to their capacity. Say, I can't, I am not a microbiologist, I am a zoology student. Okay, for your information. So you should be knowing how an amoeba enjoys, how some viruses enjoys. So maybe that could be your thesis, and you can establish this with 13th chapter.
Okay.
No, because I really don't know how. Of course, I can see other animals like a dog. We have seen a dog, how it is having sense. We can see goat. We have seen in Mayapur, we have lots of jackals. Before going to Mangalarti, we actually can see so many jackals. Yeah, like that other. But microbic entities, you have to say what is their sense gratification. Of course, I feel this is common for everything, like eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Like even a pig wants to have a pig family, like with its piglets. It is thinking uh, in its own way, it is happy.
Then,
like that, it could be possible for all the other living entities.
For them only to produce like their offspring is a sense gratification. Because nothing else exists in them. Reproduction is only there.
Yeah, like eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's it.
Okay.
4 things. That is why Prabhupada is saying that if human is also having this four things as common, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then Prabhupada calls it as animalistic intelligence, because we are not utilizing our intelligence for a higher purpose. Just like animals, we are also utilizing our intelligence for this 4 things. So he calls it as animalistic intelligence. So amoeba also must be using its intelligence for these 4 things, but you have to find out in detail. Okay, so Prabhupada gives an example that how can one in the purport, please tell me that how can I understand that I am not this body, I am the soul. Prabhupada is giving an example in the purport. Can someone please raise your hand and say it? Yes, Vishaka.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The example is I am happy, I am a dog, I am a man, I am a cat. These are the examples that are bodily designations. And we should
Okay.
not, but the knower is different from the body.
Okay.
Prabhupada has
Okay.
given
That is one
example.
example. Wonderful, Vishaka. Thank you so much. One more example. Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Mataji, here Srila Prabhupada refers in the purport, Dehino Asman Yatha Deha, the shloka, wherein he explicitly mentions how the body transforms from boy to youth to old age and then dwindles. And this is what he said about the change of body.
Yes. Thank you. But are you feeling that you are the same person? Like you might have crossed that, no? Childhood, boyhood, and youth. I mean, I think you are in your youth now, prime youth. I believe with your.
No, Mataji. After reading the shloka or after understanding the shloka, the perspective changes altogether.
Yeah, perspective changes altogether. Okay, thank you so much. But yet it's still one person remaining, but only the body changes. Did you? I mean, were you able to relate to that? Like you are the same person, but your body has changed.
Not yet, Mataji.
I mean, if you see your old
the body is
photographs,
changing. Yes, the body is changing. I agree to that. But I'll remain the same person, so it's very difficult to understand at this present moment.
Okay, but still, I think okay, my body was like that, but I was that person. So I think this
Yes,
can,
Mataji.
yeah. So that is the example. Of course, one more example brought by Vishaka that we identify ourselves with the bodily designation of the knower, that I know, like I know that I am this body. But the proper point is the knower is different from the body. That's why he gave this another example. Okay, so we have covered Kshetra, Kshetrajna. So please follow carefully. It is not a what to say, it's difficult to understand chapter. It's a very wonderful chapter, especially by the mercy of our founder Acharya, the Bhaktivedanta purports. We will be able to relish chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, please read, Daya. Complete the purport. Yeah.
In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle,
so what is the main topic in the first, especially the second chapter, where the knower of the body, soul description we have seen in the initial chapters. Okay, please continue.
In the middle 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service are described. The superior position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the subordinate position of the individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. The living entity are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness, they are suffering. When enlightened
just a minute, Daya. You asked some question, right, regarding other living entities, right? So here Prabhupada is also answering that we wanted to enjoy separately, and actually we're subordinate under all circumstances. But since we wanted to enjoy separately, forgetting Krishna, we are suffering. Primarily, we think the sense gratification is the enjoyment, but you need to find out what is the sense gratification for microbic animals. Yeah. So please continue.
But in their forgetfulness, they are suffering. When enlightened by pious activity, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacities. As the distressed, those in want of money, the inquisitive, and those in reach of knowledge. That is
so what
also
is the shloka? What is the shloka? When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord different capacities. What is the shloka which you have? I mean, I'm asking everyone, not Daya alone. What is the shloka that we approach the Supreme Lord? At distress, those in want of money, inquisitive, and search of knowledge. What is the verse? Famous verse.
Four type of person who are like
7.16.
Okay, what is 7.16, Vishaka?
चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जना सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासु अर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, one more question. When enlightened by pious activities, what does it mean by pious activities? Again, for everyone.
The work done in mode of goodness.
Okay, work done in mode of goodness. Little bit closer. What does it mean by pious activities?
Which makes Krishna happy.
Which makes Krishna happy. Okay, little bit closer. Somebody else. All others have taken a vow of Mauna Vrata.
The Sukritis, Mataji, I believe.
Yeah, what Sukriti, Prabhu?
Mataji is the Sukritis that help us to get into the devotion service.
Yeah, so what Sukriti we call it? Agyat Sukriti, unknown devotional service. So the pious activities doesn't refer to piety, because one cannot come to devotional service by material piety. But though Prabhupada writes, enlightened by pious activities, that piety refers to, as Shubham Prabhuji mentioned, the Sukriti. What Sukriti? Agyat Sukriti, unknown devotional service. So then they approach the Supreme Lord. Yes, thank you, Vishaka, for bringing up the shloka. So now what is mentioned in chapter 13, Prabhupada section. Please continue, Daya.
That is also described. Now starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity come into contact with material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through
the different methods of
the method of fruitive activities. The different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge, and the discharge of devotional service are explained. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow became related. That is also explained.
Okay, thank you. So what will be saying in chapter 13? How the living entity, how the jiva came in contact with material nature. Krishna will be explained. And how we, the living entity, can be delivered by the Supreme Lord. Krishna gives 3 methods in the 13th chapter also. Fruitive activities, that is karma yoga, cultivation of knowledge, jnana, and also bhakti. And Prabhupada makes a point, although the living entity is completely different from the material body, we somehow become related. That's also will be explained by the Lord, how the jiva is identifying himself with this material body. Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. As you said, there is a term called Agyat Sukriti. So there must be also a term called Gyat Sukriti.
Gyat Sukriti is known devotional service, right? I'll tell you an example for unknown devotional service. Rath Yatra is going, okay? And you don't have any reason to go behind Ratha. You just went, that is Rath Yatra is going, and you were walking behind the Rath, okay, without any reason. Krishna counted it as devotional service. Then some pure devotee is coming, and you did not know that he is a pure devotee, that all these things. But you rendered some service to a pure devotee. And that pure devotee taken into account it as devotional service. You didn't know that, you are not even aware of what is devotional service. These are different examples of unknown devotional service. Like what you are doing is known devotional service. You know, knowingly you are chanting, knowingly you are reading, knowingly you are hearing, right? So this is without even knowing about devotional service, you perform something. I gave just 2 examples. I hope it clarifies you, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Shubham Prabhu. Yes. So can we continue the Shloka 3? I hope the 6 questions are clear for everyone. Purusha, who is the real Purusha? And Prakriti, material nature. Kshetra, Kshetrajna. That's what we discussed so far now. Jnana and Geya, we will see later. Krishna will explain later. So is the 4 questions clear for everyone?
Yes.
Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra
Yes,
and
Mataji.
Kshetra. Yeah. So just wanted to add on, the real Purusha is the Supreme Lord. As long as I identify with this body, I was thinking that I am the enjoyer and nature is meant for me to enjoy. Like, for example, we see the greenery, the society who are, we call it ecologists, right? They want to preserve greenery in the cities, in the forest or whatever. They don't want deforestation. They want afforestation. What is the purpose for them to have afforestation? Why people, these ecologists are promoting go green, all these things? Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
To prevent global warming, Mataji, one of the...
To prevent global warming. Okay, why they want to prevent global warming? Again, further question.
To live a healthier life.
To live a healthier life.
Yes.
Why you want to live a healthier life?
Because we are not living a healthier life.
Because we are not living a healthier life. Okay.
To enjoy the body.
For enjoying the body. Yes.
Facilitate the soul.
Yeah. To facilitate all the living entities that we want to see greenery. Now we have only concrete jungles everywhere. We don't have greenery as such. So that is why people are like, no, promoting go green, ecologists. They are saying that we have to preserve forest, global warming, rain, this, that. And ultimately, the nature is like they want to. That is the reason why they want to actually promote, so that global warming, all these things, it's basically my own sense gratification. But the devotee's understanding is that nature is meant to serve the Supreme Lord. Like we have flowers, we have gardens, we can utilize those flowers in decorating the deities. Of course, as a prasad, we can get the flowers. So within Krishna consciousness, we have sense gratification, right? So that's the misunderstanding. A human thinks that a nature is meant for my enjoyment, so that we exploit to a greater extent. I can ask you, in what all ways we are exploiting nature? What are ways we are exploiting nature? What are different ways we are gloriously exploiting Mother Nature? Yes, Rukmini Harisevini.
Deforestation, using of plastic.
Okay. Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
By making missiles, Mataji, bombs and
Making
all.
missiles. Okay, very good. Okay, what else? What else? What are the different ways we are actually exploiting nature? Yes, Vaibhavi.
Damaging water.
Just a minute. Vaibhavi, yes.
Damaging water resources.
Damaging water resources. Okay, water pollution. Okay, then what else? Vishaka.
Air pollution.
Air pollution.
Every kind of pollutions.
All kind of pollution. Yes, Jyoti.
Unnecessary use of vehicles, all the waste coming out from the factories.
Okay. Thank you. Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Disturbing life cycle.
Disturbing life cycle. Okay, yes.
Yes, sir.
So in order to have our sense gratification, we have exploited nature and we think nature is meant for our enjoyment. So that's why Arjuna asked this question, in order to make us understand that nature is meant to be for the service of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is the enjoyer, a subordinate enjoyer. When we get as prasadam. That's it. So I hope it is clear, the 4 questions. Thou, in text 3, Krishna will give the definition of knowledge. The definition in brief is given in text 3. The knowledge in detail is given in 8 to 12. So please make a note on each shloka, what it is why this shloka, what is the significance. So this shloka is, Krishna is going to speak about what is knowledge. Just give a definition of knowledge here. The detail he will give in 8 to 12. So let us chant text number 3. Yes, Vishaka, you want to ask something? Or you want to add something?
No, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharat kshetra kshetrajnayo jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. Yes, Devika, can you please read?
While discussing
Please
translation,
read the first read the translation and then the highlighted part of the purport. Yeah, please.
O Saikin of Bharata, you should
Ocean of
understand.
Bharata.
Ocean of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower of in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion.
So Krishna is saying that he is the knower in all bodies. So here Krishna makes the clarification that I may be the knower, but I am the secondary knower. And I know partially about my body. Like, for example, if someone asks me now at this point of time, what is happening in my stomach? I can't say. I know I'm eating and stomach is doing some digestive function, that's it. But exactly what is happening to my body, we can't understand. Like Prabhupada gives the example, how many hairs a person has in his head? Someone asks a question, I don't know. But the Supreme Lord knows it. Not even one body, he is the knower in all bodies. That's why he said, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. Because as Paramatma, he is there in all bodies. A knower is not he doesn't know completely about his own body. He is a secondary knower. That is why he is a secondary knower, and also he knows partially about one's body. And it clarifies, he understands this body and its knower is called knowledge. So what is knowledge? He gives the definition. To understand the body and the two knowers. One knower is Jiva and the super knower is Krishna. One who knows these three is in knowledge. So that is what Krishna explains in text number 3. That to know about the body, the knower of the body, that is a secondary knower, and the super knower, which is Krishna, who knows all the bodies. So this is called knowledge. Yeah. Please read the highlighted part in the purport, Devika.
Yes, Mataji. While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and the super soul, we shall find 3 different topics of study: the Lord, the living entity, and the matter.
Yeah, just a small clarification here. Want to clarify a bit more. So knowledge is to know the field, that is body, and the knower, secondary knower, that is we, Jiva, and the super knower, which is the Supreme Lord. One more thing is, the body is made up of, according to your study of Bhakti Shastri, the body is made up of
24 elements, Mataji.
How many elements?
Gross plus subtle.
24 elements.
24 elements, which is called as matter, or which is called as Prakriti, material nature. Because the material nature comprises this 24 elements. So that is what Prabhupada says it as matter. We find 3 different topics. The Lord, who is the super knower, and the living entity, who is the secondary knower, and body, the field, kshetra. This is made up of 24 elements. That is why Prabhupada writes it as matter. Because this body is made up of matter. Okay. Yes, someone raised their hand. Yes, Krishna Priya. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I have a question here. While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and the super soul. So there is difference between super soul and Lord.
Soul and super soul. Yes, body.
Atma and Paramatma.
Yeah,
But
yes,
Lord
yes,
is different here. Krishna is different from super soul.
No, Krishna himself is the super soul, right?
Yeah. But,
Prabhupada is reiterating the point again for the second time. In the subject matter of these three, what body, soul, and super soul, we find three different topics. What are they? The Lord, who is the super soul. The living entity is the soul. And the body is made up of matter, 24 elements. Very clear.
Sometimes Prabhupada has used super soul somewhere and he has used Lord in other
It's okay,
verses.
doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because we will see in the 18th chapter, we will see when the Lord is acting as a super soul, when the Lord is acting as the Lord, we will see in the 18th chapter. Please make a note to this question, Krishna Priya Mataji. I request you to make note of this question. When the Supreme Lord acts as Paramatma, and when the Supreme Lord acts as the Lord within the heart itself. Yeah, please note it. In fact, in the 13th chapter itself, we will come across it, and also we will see in the 18th chapter. Is it okay, Krishna Priya Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, which verse? 18th?
We will discuss when we come to 18th chapter.
Thank you.
And also in the 13th chapter, we have one more verse, which is one of your memorization verse, I believe, Upadrishtanu Mantacha Bharta Bhokta Parame Maheshwara. So in that verse also we will discuss. Yeah. Yeah. Please, what example Srila Prabhupada gives that Krishna is the knower of all the bodies? I know only my body, but Krishna knows all the bodies of different living entities. Yes, Harshika, please go ahead.
Prabhupada has explained a citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but all the properties possessed by the individual citizens. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies.
Okay.
It means that
Thank
the
you
king
so
is
much.
the original proprietor.
Yes. The king knows everything. So same way, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies. Thank you. Okay. Devika, you were reading, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please continue the highlighted part.
Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body and the constitution of the individual soul and the constitution of the super soul is
known in terms of
Vedic literature as jnana. That is the opinion of the Krishna. To understand both the soul and the super soul as one yet distinct is knowledge. This material world, which is the field of activity.
Yeah, just a minute before going into get into the next highlighted part. So what is perfect knowledge? How the body is constituted and constitution of the individual soul, constitution of the super soul is called as jnana. That is what is the opinion of Krishna. Again, I'm repeating, this is the brief definition of knowledge. The detail Krishna will explain in text number 8 to 12. Again, one more point. To understand both the soul and the super soul as one, yet distinct is knowledge. What Prabhupada is actually defeating what philosophy here in this particular statement? To understand both the soul and the super soul as one, yet distinct is knowledge. Yes, Harshika.
Actually, I raised the hand for the previous question.
Oh, okay, okay. So yes, yes, Shubham Prabhuji.
Mataji, Prabhupada is defeating the concept of Mayavad.
Concept of Mayavad. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. So we see in Prabhupada purports, defeating Mayavada philosophy is inbuilt in Bhaktivedanta purports. That's the speciality of Bhaktivedanta purports. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shubham Prabhu. Yes, please continue, Devika.
Yes, Mataji. This material world, which is the field of activities, is nature, and the enjoyer of the nature is the living entity, and above them both is the supreme controller.
So this material world, yeah, just a minute. This material world, which is the field of activities. What is the field of activity in Sanskrit? What is the field of activity in Sanskrit?
Kshetra.
Kshetra. What is the knower of the field in Sanskrit?
Kshetragya.
Kshetragya. And the living entity wants to enjoy nature. What is in Sanskrit?
Prakriti.
And when he
wants... Oh, sorry, Purush.
Yeah, Purush. And Purush wants to enjoy the Prakriti, which is nature. And this living entity, and above everyone, who is their supreme controller? That is Krishna. So material nature is there, Jiva is there, but Krishna is the controller of both. That's we need to understand. Of course, the real enjoyer is the Supreme Lord. The Prakriti is meant for the service of the Supreme Lord. Everything. We understand. That's the right conception. Again, now what we are going to see is the word Brahman. Yeah, please, Devika, continue the last part in the purport, please.
There are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman as the field of activities, and the Jiva, individual soul, is also Brahman and is trying to control material nature, and the controller of both of them is also Brahman, but he is factual
controller. Yeah. So just we need to understand the Brahman has many meanings in Sanskrit. So we need to see in what context the Brahman is used. So here in three contexts it is used. Prabhupada is referring as field of activities, that is Kshetra, the Kshetrajna, that is individual soul who wants to control the nature, enjoy the nature. And the controller of both of them is the Supreme Lord. He is also called as Brahman. That's why Prabhupada is writing the three Brahman conceptions. Yeah, please continue.
One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one, and the same credits the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who states here very clearly,
I am also the knower of the field of activity. So again, Prabhupada is defeating whom? Defeating whom? One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same. Mayavada. So that's why Prabhupada is clarifying here that it's contradicting the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That someone who thinks that the knower of the field, that is Lord and himself are the same, is actually contradicting the Supreme Lord, because I cannot say, okay, now I have 15 people here. I know the body of all the 15 people. I can't say, because I am not the Supreme Lord. That is why Krishna is saying, I am also the knower of the field of activity. Means he says that he is the knower of all the bodies. But Mayavadi thinks that the two knower are one and the same. So I hope it clarifies all the students. So 2 times Prabhupada defeated the Mayavada philosophy here in this purport. Yeah, please continue, Devika.
The word cha is significant, for it indicates the total number of the bodies. That is the opinion of Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusana. Krishna is the super soul present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says here that real knowledge is to know that the super soul is the controller of both the field of the activities and the finite enjoyer.
So what is the field of activities in Sanskrit?
Kshetra.
Finite enjoyer. Who is the finite enjoyer?
Finite enjoyer, Purush.
Infinite enjoyer is
the Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
Finite enjoyer is us, I believe.
Yes. Yes. So we need to understand finite enjoyer. We are the finite enjoyer, but Krishna is the controller of both. Krishna is the controller of both. So real knowledge is to know the super soul. Who is the, see, Prabhupada clarifies clearly, who is the controller of the field of activities and the finite enjoyer. So that defeats the Mayavad, who says that the two nayars are one and the same. Because my own body, I can't even say what is happening with my body, and what is the question of telling other people's body. So it is very clear that the Jiva and the Lord cannot be the same. That's why Krishna clarifies, I am also the knower of the field of activity, and Baladev Vidyabhushan gives the word for the word cha, means it refers to the total, how many number of body is there, that much, all the bodies Krishna knows. That's the opinion of Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. So next we will go to text number 4. Before going to text number 4, I'd like to ask, does anyone have any doubt in this? Am I too fast? So is it okay, my speed? Then we will go to text number 4. And also, I focus mainly on the purports because it's the study of the Bhaktivedanta. Bhakti Shastri means study of the Bhaktivedanta purports, which is very essential for our foundation of our Krishna consciousness. So when the foundation is strong, then we will be able to progress in our Krishna consciousness. So more I focus in the purports. So yes, I'd like to hear from devotees. Is it okay? Then can we move to text number 4? Is there any question?
Yes,
yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu. You raised your voice first. Pandit Gadadhar Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mataji, we are good and we will be able to follow what you're saying. The speed is also fine.
Okay, thank you so much. Harshika?
Yes, Mataji, speed is fine.
Okay, so I hope the Sanskrit terms are clear and what is knowledge is clear. Okay, so with this, I will move to text number 4. Takshetram yaccha yadriksha yadvikari yatascha yat sachayo yat prabhavascha tatsamasena me shrunu. Yeah, please read. Dhamni Kumar. That's what it shows in my list. Yeah, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Dhamini Kumari. Kumari, yes, I couldn't see. Okay. Yeah, please continue.
Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its change are, whence it is produced, and who that knower of the field of activities is, and what is its influence.
Influences are. Okay, thank you. So now Krishna will explain about the field of activity. What is the field of activity? Kshetra, English, now.
Body.
Body. So now, body, not material world. So now Krishna will actually describe how the description of the field of activity, which is body, how it is constituted, and what are the changes the body goes through. You might have read earlier, what are the 6 kinds of transformation the body go through? It's one of your closed book questions in, I think, unit 1. Yes, Vishaka.
The first is we take birth in the womb of mother, and then we gradually grows. It grows, and then it produces byproducts, and then it dwindles, and then it vanishes.
In between one thing.
It stays for some
time. So Krishna will explain. Yeah, thank you. What are the changes? This is the change. and when the body is produced. That's why Krishna said, whence it is produced. And who is the knower of the field of activities? About the Kshetragya, and what are his influences. So that and all Krishna will explain in detail. So now in text number 5 and 6, please write down. In text number 5 and 6, Krishna will explain about the field of activity, which is Kshetra, which is body. When it is constituted, what are the changes? All these things Krishna will explain in 6 and 7. Please note it carefully. 6 and 7. Okay. So now Damini Kumari, please read the highlighted part in the purport.
Hare Krishna. But one should be careful not to consider the supreme personality of Godhead and everybody to be one with the individual soul, the jiva. This is something like equating the potence.
Equating the potence and the, you're not able to see the screen?
Now I can see.
Yeah.
And the importance.
And the importance. So again, Prabhupada is defeating. Mayavad philosophy. Yes. So we see, like, in every chance, whenever Prabhupada gets, he is defeating the Mayavad philosophy. So it's just a straightforward purport. So whatever is significant, I have highlighted. That doesn't mean the rest of the purport are not important. That's simple and straightforward. So I did not highlight it. Text number 5. Rishibir Bahuda Geetam Chandobhir Vividhai Pratak Brahma Sutra Padaishchaiva Hetu Madbhir Vinishchitaihi. Yes, Harshika, can you read the purport? Sorry, the translation and so some highlighted part. Yeah.
Translation. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of the activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect.
Thank you. So now Krishna himself is an authority, but he is saying regarding the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna, that is field of activity and the knower of field. So many sages have written. And he also says that in Vedanta Sutra, it is there. Like how we say, whenever we have to present something, we need to give evidence. We need to give proof. So now, Krishna is actually following the same thing. He says that many sages, Rishibhi, in so many different ways, have described about field of activity, that is Kshetra, and Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Of course, whenever we say knower of the field, we need to understand both the knowers. Because nothing exists without the Supreme Lord. So that's why we need to understand. Knower means it includes the super knower and the secondary knower. So he is giving proof, evidences that in Vedic hymns it is there. And also in Vedanta Sutra. Sometimes Vedanta Sutra is also called as Brahma Sutra. In Brahma Sutra also it is there. He himself spoke, he himself is the greatest authority, but he is giving evidences from the Rishis, Vedic hymns, and also the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. Please continue.
And Vyasadeva's father.
There is some echo.
Parashar is also a great sage, and he writes in his books of religiosity, Aham Tvam Cha Tathanye. We, you, I, and the various other living entities are all
transcendental,
although in material bodies. Now we are fallen into the ways of the three modes of material nature according to our different karma. As such, some are on higher levels and some are in the lower nature. The higher and the lower natures exist due to ignorance and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities. But the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by the three qualities of the nature and is transcendental.
So again, Prabhupada is establishing that, of course, he quoting Parasara, that the Jiva is different from the Supreme Lord. That is why he quotes this Aham Tvam Cha Tathanye, we, you, I, and all other living entities are all transcendental. Are all transcendental referred to what? Actually, who is transcendental? Who is transcendental?
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay, then?
The soul.
The soul. The soul in its original position is transcendental. And Prabhupada clarifies, although in material body. Because the Jiva identify itself with the body and the Jiva had fallen into the material nature, we are actually under the grip of three modes of material nature. Then says, according to different karma, we have a higher nature for higher sense gratification, a lower nature for lower kind of sense gratification. That's why, like here it said, higher levels, sometimes in lower nature. Of course, it is due to ignorance. He's just clarifying. See the point? This is our position. The higher and lower nature exists due to ignorance and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities. We cannot count. So, infinite number of living entities. But the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by the three qualities of nature and is transcendental. So, what Prabhupada establishes here by quoting Parashara, what Prabhupada establishes here, trying to establish here by quoting Parashara Rishi. Yes, Vishaka?
He wants to tell us that we all are transcendental by nature.
Okay. Something else. Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, Jyoti?
What I understand is like along with Prabhupada, there are so many sages who actually agrees on that point. So
what
like
point? Agrees on what point?
Like that the soul and super soul are completely different, and in like this philosophy is not only told by only Srila Prabhupada, it is told by many great sages, and one of them, one great sage who is Sage Parasara.
Okay. So, yes, thank you. Yes, Vaibhavi, you want to add something?
Mataji have already explained. It is written also here that it explains a distinction between the soul, super soul, and the body.
Yeah. So that's the main point. That is why Prabhupada quotes that in the transcendental position, the soul and super soul are qualitatively the same, but it's different. But the living entity, in case of the living entity, it is actually under the grip of the three modes of material nature. Super soul is actually uncontaminated by the three qualities of nature and is transcendental. So for this reason, Prabhupada quotes. Again, he's making a point that the super soul is different from the living entity. Thank you. Yeah. Now it's an important section. Yeah, please continue.
Is stated in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahma Pancham Pratishtha.
Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. Brahma Pucham Pratishtha.
Okay. Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. There is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamay, dependence upon food for existence. This is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. Then, in Pranamay, after realizing the Supreme Absolute Truth in food, one can realize the absolute truth in the living symptoms or life forms. In Jnanmay, realization extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is a Brahman realization called Vijnanmay, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next And supreme stage is Anandmay, realization of all blissful nature.
Yeah. Thank you, Harshika. We'll stop here. We'll discuss what are these things. Why Taittiriya Upanishad is quoted here? Taittiriya Upanishad is quoted here in order to establish the supremacy of devotional service. That is first. And then the Supreme Lord's energy is manifested in this four, right? First is Annamaya. The example for Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. Plants and newly born babies, maybe until 1 year old, until they try to speak. Because what a newly born baby does, cries for food and then sleeps. So it's only dependence upon food for existence, because plant leave the oxygen and takes carbon dioxide, and we take that oxygen, and it always actually looking for food. We have seen so many science students are here. Photosynthesis, we have studied in science in schools, how from sun this is happening and how the plant gets food through photosynthesis. So that's an example for Annamaya consciousness. Sometimes within human, if someone is very interested in only food, we call him, why that person is Annamaya, right? So Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. So it's a materialistic realization of the Supreme. Realizing the Supreme, a materialistic. Then comes Pranamaya. Who is example for Pranamaya? Only in living symptoms or life forms? Example? Pranamaya? Someone try? Pranamaya? Anything? Any try? No? So Pranamaya, yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhuji?
Maybe the person in coma.
Person in coma. Okay. So Pranamaya is, yeah. Okay, let us hear from Jyoti also. Yeah, Jyoti?
I understand, like those people who are just like after birth, like after baby, when they see that oh, so many people are there, and they think this is the only world around them.
Okay. Thank you for the try. Then comes animal life, like dog, cat, elephant, whatever animal you can put it in list. They just, next is living symptoms or life forms. They have to live. That's it. That's the main thing. That is the Pranamaya consciousness. Next comes Jnanamaya. What it is said, the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. So Jnanamaya, who is example? Please read the sentence which I have highlighted in purple. Yes, Rukmini Harisevini.
Living entity. So
yeah, living entity, all are living entities specifically.
Jivatma.
Yeah.
Humans.
Yeah, humans. Yes. Human have the function of thinking, feeling, and willing. Okay. Again comes, that doesn't mean, of course, the living and the lower animals, that is dog, cat, elephant, whatever, they also have a mind, but the function of mind is rudimentary, because the material body is made up of, as we have seen in the 7th chapter, Bhumina Ponalo Vayu Kammano Bhutirevacha Ahankara Itiyame Bhinna Prakriti Rashtradha. Any living entity's body is made up of these 8 elements. But in lower life forms, that is animal forms, the function of mind is rudimentary. It also has thinking, feeling, and willing. But its thinking, feeling, and willing is surrounded by four things. What are the four things? What are the four things? Quick, quick, quick. What are the four things?
Sleeping, mating, defending.
Yes, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Feeling. A living entity also has a feeling. The dog feels cold. The dog feels hot. Right? Willing, it wants prey. So, but the thinking, feeling, and willing in an animal body is rudimentary, very minute. It can't think, what will I wear tomorrow? Where will I invest my money? Or like what I feel. Like it can't express. So, the Jnanamaya, the function of the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. And if the human is also utilizing the same thinking, feeling, and willing for the four things, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, there's no difference between a Pranamaya consciousness and Jnanamaya consciousness. That is why a human is supposed to come to this point, which is Vijnanamaya, where it understands that the body, soul, and it is different. The living entity's body, mind, and limb symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. We, as human, we are supposed to come to Vijnanamaya, where we understand that we are different. That is, the soul is different from the body and the mind. Yes, we have come to Jnanamaya. We can think, we can feel, we can will. What is the whose function it is? This mind's function, thinking, feeling, and willing. But if the same thinking, feeling, and willing is utilized for the four things, then we are no different from Annamaya consciousness and Pranamaya consciousness. What the dog have in the street, that human does in a sophisticated place. So we need to come to this, which is Vijnanamaya, in which we understand that we are different from the mind and soul. Your mind and body, sorry. So I hope until now it is clear for everyone. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Vijnanamaya. Is it clear? Yes, Daya?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, Vijnanamaya, I want to repeat that.
Yeah, Vijnanamaya, right now, theoretically, we know, right, that I am different from my mind and my body. Means I identify with the soul. So theoretically, I know that I am the soul and I am different from my body and mind. When I realize fully that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am the soul servant of the Supreme Lord. That time I can say that I am fully become Vijnanamaya conscious. So, Daya, is it clear for you? Theoretically, I know that I am not this body because that's the first lesson we learn in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, Dehino Asmineta Dehe Kaumaram Yavvanam Jara Tata Dehantara Prapti Dhiras Tatrana Mukhyati. So, are you satisfied, Daya?
Yes, Mataji, I want to clarify one more thing, that is, if I know theoretically it comes under Vijnanamaya, or after realization it come in under Vijnanamaya, or in both cases?
Is that now, right now it is like a transition period.
Okay.
We have thinking, feeling, willing. We are directing all our mind's function towards Krishna. That is why, what is the function of the mind? Krishna said in middle 6 chapters, a famous verse. Can someone quote it?
Think of Krishna.
Think of Krishna. Okay. Why these shlokas? Very nice. Think of Krishna. Okay, very good. Shloka? Yeah, you said, think of me. Think of Krishna. Very important function. Right? Yes, Pandit Gadadhar.
Mataji, probably
Yeah,
that was a
Manmanabho
slope.
Madbhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru.
Madhyajimam Namaskuru.
Continue.
No, I don't remember the story.
Okay. Mam evaishya shivtaivam atmanam mat parayanah. Okay, thank you, Daya, for this point. Thinking, feeling, and willing, we are actually directing everything towards serving the Supreme Lord. I feel like making a nice bhoga for the Supreme Lord. I want to make a garland. I have a will that I can make a garland, that I will be able to serve all the devotees by giving them a nice prashadam. So thinking, feeling, and willing. It should be centered around the Supreme Lord, devotional service, and serving devotees. If the thinking, feeling, and willing is surrounded around only eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, then we are going back to Annamaya and Pranamaya consciousness. So is it clear, Daya? We are in transition period. We know theoretically, when I realize completely Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Sochati na Kangshati, then I understand that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, Jivera Sarupoi Krishna Dikyadas.
Yes,
So is it clear? Yes. So we are about to move towards this. More we move towards this Vijnanamaya. Yeah, that is the purpose. And then when we cannot become Anandamaya, because Anandamaya refers to the Supreme Law. When the Vijnanamaya, the realization is complete. Again, I want to clarify here 3 things within Vijnanamaya. Daya, since you asked this question, please note it carefully. Within this Vijnanamaya, there are 3 kinds of realization. Who can say this? You already dealt with this in 2nd chapter. 2nd chapter. Vijnanamaya, a person who is in Vijnanamaya. Yes, Rukmini Harisevini.
Brahm Paramatma and Bhagwan realization.
Yes. Brahman realization is complete. Paramatma realization is? What Prabhupada uses?
Sun.
Yes.
Sunshine, sun.
No. That's an example. But I'm just talking about in English, how Prabhupada is explaining. In Vijnanamaya, one can realize in 3 ways. Brahman realization is complete. Paramatma realization is more complete. Bhagavan realization is most complete. This is how Prabhupada explains in Sri Ishopanishad. So please note it. Within Vijnanamaya, one has 3 realization. When one understands the Bhagavan realization, then he connects himself. When one connects himself to Anandamaya, then he has attained complete realization, which is the Supreme Lord. The realization is complete because he is just connected with the Brahmajyoti. And even a Jnani also understands that he is different from the body and mind, he is the soul. Yogi also understands this, but he realizes the Lord in the heart, which is Paramatma, which the realization is more complete. Of course, the devotee understands the realization is complete in itself. That's why Prabhupada calls it as most complete. So he knows that when he connects himself with the Anandamaya, then the realization is complete. So I hope it is now clear for the devotees. Especially Daya, since you asked this Vijnanamaya.
Yes, Mataji, thanks so much.
Okay. Yes, please continue. Who was reading the purport? I totally forgot.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Harshika.
Okay. Out of these, the first three, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, involve the fields of activities of the living entities. Transcendental
Okay,
to all
just a
these
minute.
fields of
1 minute. So the first three, Prabhupada says, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Jnanamaya involve the field of activities of the living entities. What does it mean by that? Involve the field of activities means what?
Bodies.
Bodies. Because in Annamaya, one want to like have food. Focus is in body. Pranamaya, one wants to live, living symptoms. Again, focus on the body. Jnanamaya, thinking, feeling, and willing. It also involves the body. Yeah, please continue.
Transcendental to all these fields of activities is the Supreme Lord, who is called Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra also describes the Supreme by saying Anandamayo Vyasat. The
Continue.
Supreme
Personality of
Godhead
Godhead
is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. In the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be the enjoyer, and different from him is the Anandamaya. That means if the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with the Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. This is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity, as the subordinate knower, and the nature of the field of the activities.
Thank you. So now Prabhupada is saying, in order to enjoy fully, Krishna has to enjoy with his energies only. That's how he derived pleasure, because a person cannot enjoy alone. So that's why he expands himself. Of course, he is self-satisfied, but still he enjoys with his energy. He doesn't need anyone to enjoy, but still he tries to enjoy with his different energies. That's why Prabhupada is saying he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. But now the important point here is the living entity wants to be the enjoyer. That's why we discussed this Purusha. This enjoying mentality is there in the Jiva, who is different from Anandamaya. So earlier we discussed that Anandamaya, it refers only to the Supreme Lord. So that means only in Vijnanamaya, in the most complete realization, not the complete realization and the more complete realization, the most complete realization, the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with the Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. That means what we are supposed to do if we have to become perfect?
We have to realize the more still complete Bhagavan realization. We
okay, how will we realize? Yes, Shubham Prabhu.
When we will dovetail himself to the Anandmaya.
Yeah, so what is the process called?
Bhakti.
Yeah, bhakti. So
devotional service.
Yeah, devotional service. So only in Vijnanamaya, in the most complete realization, of course, when we dovetail everything in Krishna's service, we will also realize the most complete realization. It is like this. Simultaneously, I'm having the food, I'm relishing the taste, and my hunger is satisfied, all happening. So same way, in Vijnanamaya, the more complete realization happens, the more I dovetail in Krishna's service, the more I do bhakti, everything happens. So this Brahmapucham Pratishta, it is quoted in Taittiriya Upanishad to establish the supremacy of bhakti. So then only all Maya, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, they all can perfect when they come to Vijnanamaya and when they connect themselves with Anandamaya, who is the Supreme Lord. This is the real picture. And he is the super knower of all the living entities. Living entity is the subordinate knower or secondary knower. And also the nature of the field of activity. That is the body. The body is made up of material nature. Yes. Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Mataji, I have a question. So, how is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is taking pleasure in Annamaya consciousness or Chetna?
How it is deriving pleasure in Annamaya consciousness?
Yes, or the Pranmaya, because it is only because of the forgetfulness, right?
Yeah, yes,
Or particularly for the Pranmaya. So, how Krishna is
yeah,
deriving
I
pleasure?
understand. Yes, Prabhu, I got your question. Actually, I have referred to some commentary somewhere. I have noted it down. So please give me, I will come back to you tomorrow. But I have it definitely. How he expands. I got your question. Same thing someone asked me. I have referred it somewhere, but now I am not able, I'm not in a position to find out which I have
Yes,
written.
no problem, Mataji.
Yeah. But
no
I will
problem.
definitely answer your query tomorrow. Yes, till that, please wait. Yes, someone raised their hand. I think, I don't remember after. Yes, Rukmini Harisevini, yes.
Mother, Krishna is Atma Kam,
Yes.
Atma Kam.
Yeah.
And so please help me to understand that is this really that he wants to give enjoyment to his devotees? So he enjoys with his energies, or what is that actually real purpose? Or of course, Prabhupada says that if Krishna wants to enjoy, of course,
Okay, yeah, I got your point. That's why I earlier itself I said that he is Atma Kama, Atma Tripta, he's everything. He's self-satisfied Atma Rama, right? But to enjoy his transcendental bliss means we need to understand here that who wanted to enjoy away from Krishna?
I
Who wanted to enjoy away from Krishna?
I wanted, so I'm here.
Yeah, basically the living entities, right?
Yeah.
So is all the living entities desire is one, but every living entity wants to enjoy in a different in a different way. Like some jiva wants to sleep for a long time, some jiva wants to be in the water, some jiva wants to fly in the sky. Different kinds of tendencies. Is it there? Different kinds of tendencies for sense gratification? Yes or not?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, who can give them the bodies according to their desire?
Krishna.
Krishna. So, this is the answer. Because the child wants to enjoy, but the child doesn't have any facility to enjoy unless the father gives him the facility. So, in our case, the facility is the body, right? So, in that sense, he expands himself to all these things. Because, of course, in fact, he suffers because he suffers not like literally, but as a loving father, he suffers seeing the suffering of his own children. That, the jiva think that they want to enjoy away from me, but actually it's so-called enjoyment. That's why it is clear. It is so-called enjoyment. It is not the enjoyment. It is so-called enjoyment. So the jiva cannot have the facility on its own. The Supreme, unless the Supreme Lord gives. So that is why he creates all these different kinds of like Annamaya, Jnanamaya, Pranamaya, all these things. Of course, we have read earlier itself. What is the purpose of creation? Of course, Prabhupada will deal in the same subject matter in the 13th chapter. What is the purpose of creation?
To give facilities to fulfill our desires.
And then?
Enjoy.
Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu, you want to add?
Sorry, Mati, could you please repeat the question once?
What is the purpose of creation? I think Shubham Prabhu is very enthusiastic. He is ready. Please tell Shubham Prabhu.
Mataji, actually to give us the chance to realize that you cannot enjoy without me. So that's why he created this creation to make us realize.
Okay. Kind of touch. Yes, Vaibhavi.
Lord Krishna knew that we wanted to enjoy apart from him. just to make us realize that we belong to him and not to this material world. Our independence is fake, false, and
Okay.
we should not dwell for that.
Okay. So many people are going everywhere else. Okay. Daya. Let us hear from Daya what she says.
Facilitate living jivas to enjoy separately.
Okay. Everyone is telling the half of the answer. I want the other half of the chicken. Yes, Jyoti.
So that after this realization, they can go back to Godhead.
Finally, you saved me. So, the purpose of creation is that we satisfy our illicit desire. Prabhupada writes it illicit desire. Why it is illicit desire?
Without Krishna.
Without Krishna. Thank you. So, we satisfy our illicit desire and then it's an opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. So for this purpose, since the jiva have all these tendencies, different varieties of enjoying tendency, Krishna creates all these Vijnanamaya, Jnanamaya, Annamaya, da 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 da. And then, of course, there is a natural evolution, which is not according to Darwin's theory, which is Krishna's evolution. It's not Krishna's theory of evolution, Krishna's established rule of evolution. That's what I would say. When it comes to human, then automatically it comes to Jnanamaya, where thinking, feeling, and willing. Then one has to come to Vijnanamaya, and Vijnanamaya, when the complete realization comes, it actually dovetail himself with the Supreme Lord, then it life becomes perfect. So he satisfies everyone.
Yes.
Rukmini Hari Sevini, yes?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, last sentence I just want to read. I read quickly some of the sutras which actually Baladev Vidyabhushan quotes and Prabhupada writes here are aphorisms. Na viyet ashrute, natma shrute, and paratu tachrute. So each is a Vedic aphorism. Each aphorism indicates different things. What is that first aphorism which Prabhupada writes? It indicates the field of activities. What is field of activity? Again, one more time.
Body.
Sanskrit?
Kshetra.
Kshetra. The second indicates the living entity. Who is the living entity?
Kshetrajya.
Kshetrajya, which refers to the here. The soul. And the third indicates the Supreme Lord, which in English Prabhupada calls it as a
Purusha.
What kind of knower he is?
Super knower.
Supreme knower. Supreme knower, super knower. Yeah. The summum bonum along all the manifestations of various entities. So is it clear? This is an important section in the purport. Brahmapucham Pratishta from Taittiriya Upanishad. So is it clear for all the devotees?
Yes, Mataji.
Let us move to
Yes, Mataji.
6 and 7. And yeah, let us move to 6 and 7 quickly. Because for 8 to 12, I will give you an exercise now itself so that we will start with the exercise tomorrow, which is actually a longest purport. So I'll give a group exercise. Yeah. Let us get into 6 to 7. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktam evacha indriyani dashaikam cha pancha chendriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkam sangataschetana dhritihi yeta kshetram samasena savikaram udahritam. Yes, Jyoti, can you read the translation?
Yes, Mataji. Translation. The 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind. The 5 sense objects: desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions.
So Krishna said in text number 4 that he will explain us how the body is made up of. what are the constituents of the body. So we know the body is made up of 5 great elements. So what are the 5 great elements? Quickly. What are the 5 great elements?
Earth, air, water,
Earth, air, water, fire, ether.
Yeah, I think please raise your hand so that I can ask. So, yeah, earth, water, fire, and earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So yes, we know false ego, the intelligence, it's made up of, the body is made up of. We also have the unmanifested, which is the 3 modes of material nature. It counted as 1. The 10 senses, the working senses and the knowledge occurring senses. I'm sure that you all might have completed all these things in the previous chapters. The mind and then the 5 sense objects we know. Yes, this is the gross body is made up of. Gross body and subtle body is made up of. We have 5 elements: earth, water, fire, knowledge occurring senses, working senses, mind, intelligence, ego, and 5 sense objects. Then we have desire, hatred, happiness, and distress. These 4 are actually expressed through the gross body. Like if I'm very happy, then it will be actually expressed through my body. If something happened and which I don't like, then like I'm experiencing some distress. I'm experiencing some desire. Oh, I like it. I love it. So I'm expressing through the gross body. These 4 things are expressed through the gross body. And then what is experienced through the subtle body? The life symptoms, that is the consciousness. That's the consciousness. It's in the subtle body. And then conviction. Conviction of what I'm doing. I'm convinced with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness that comes from the subtle body, mind. Accordingly, the intelligence works. Because right now, the ego is thinking the body is my identity. Accordingly, the mind and intelligence are working, how the subtle body works. But I'm convinced with whatever I read. Someone may say, like, okay, this is what in Krishna consciousness they're telling is bogus. We come out of it. So I'm convinced with that. So that's a conviction which comes in the mind. But later then I come to through the good association that yes, Krishna consciousness is the right philosophy of about my own existence, of why I'm existing and how can I get out of it. So all the answers from the Krishna conscious society, I'm convinced that conviction comes from the mind. So Krishna is saying all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities. What is the field of activity? Body. And its interactions. What are the interactions? Desire, hatred, happiness, distress. These are the interactions within the body. So I hope this translation is clear for everyone. So how the gross body and subtle body is made up of, and what are the interactions within the gross body and the subtle body. That's what Krishna explained in this translation. Yeah, please read the highlighted part.
If one makes an analytical study of these 24 subjects, then he can very well understand the field of activity.
So if we know the 24 elements, we know the body is made up of the 24 elements. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Yeah, please continue.
Then there are desire, hatred, happiness, and distress, which are interactions, representations of the 5 great elements in the gross body.
Yeah, which I explained to you earlier. So Prabhupada, I just repeated what Prabhupada said. Yeah, please continue. The living symptoms represented by consciousness and convictions are the manifestation of the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and mind, ego, and intelligence. This also I explained. So the subtle elements, subtle body is also included within the gross body. That's what Prabhupada is saying, within the field of activities. Yeah, please continue.
The 5 great elements are a gross representation of the false ego which in turn represents the primal stage of false ego,
technically called the
materialistic conception, or tamasa buddhi, intelligence in ignorance.
Okay, this I will explain you with a small diagram. Probably I will send it through Rukmini Harisevini. Prabhupada just gives about a small synopsis of creation, how creation started, like how from false ego, the 5 great elements, that is earth, water, fire, air, and ether, are produced. And false ego combined with mode of goodness, what is produced? False ego with mode of passion, what is produced? False ego with mode of ignorance, what is produced? So that is what Prabhupada is explaining here, because this subject, these things are created at the time of creation. Whatever we read in the translation is actually created at the time of creation. That is why Prabhupada is touching a small portion of how this creation started. So it's explain you in a small diagram. There's nothing much information here. Prabhupada just speaking about a simple, small information about creation. How from false ego, the 5 great elements produced, and false ego with each mode, it produces what? So that I will send you separately. Yeah, please continue.
The body is the representation of all these factors, and there are changes of the body, which are 6 in number. The body is born, it grows, it stays, it produces byproducts, then it begins to decay, and at the last stage, it vanishes. Therefore, the field is a non-permanent material thing. However, the Kshetra Jnana, the knower of the field, its proprietor, is different.
We already discussed the 6th transformation of the body. Of course, Prabhupada is saying, we all know that the field, which is body, is non-permanent, but the knower is different. The knower is the soul. Also, I think I explained what is pradhana, the unmanifested 3 modes of material nature, because in the translation, it is said unmanifested. What is unmanifested? I also told you that time, that is the 3 modes of material nature. Generally, we call it pradhana. When the Lord's glance is there, so then everything starts. So unmanifest modes of material nature are called pradhana. Okay. So then comes 8 to 12. We'll just read the translation. What I'd like to do is Rukmini Harisevini, tomorrow you can make breakout rooms of how many devotees exactly in this group may I know? Apart from, I know there are like, I saw 18, now it is only 15. So I'm not sure.
15 to 16 come.
15 to 16 come, but how many registered? You know, any idea? Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
more, but 20 are coming actually.
Okay. So if I know exactly the 20, then I can actually divide into 5 groups or 4 groups probably. 4 groups which with 5 items, because in this shloka, Krishna will be explaining 20 items of knowledge. So let us read the Sanskrit, let us read the translation. I will probably give the question to you. So tomorrow, since the time is short, tomorrow as soon as they come, they have to get into the group breakout room. They need to discuss and then come with the point. I can give 10 minutes for preparation. They need to present it for 2 minutes. So is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah, I will give you the question separately. Now we'll read the shloka, a very important section of shlokas here. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sairyam atma vinigrahah indriyateshu vairagyam anahankara eva cha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam asaktiranabhishvanga पुत्रदार गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मैशानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणि विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञान नित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थ दर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यत् अथोऽन्यथा. Yes, Keshavi Jayada Devidasi Mataji, can you? I'm just calling her. She left. Okay. Yes, Shubham Prabhu, can you read the translation?
Yes, Mataji. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general mass of public, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical research for the absolute truth. All these are declared to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there is maybe is ignorance.
Ignorance. So as I mentioned, Krishna gave the brief definition of knowledge in text number 3. Here in 8 to 12, he actually gives in detail what is knowledge. There are 20 items mentioned in this set of shlokas. So we divide the group, maybe 4 groups, each 5. Then you have to read the purport in your given, which is given for your group. Read the purport and have to come up with the significant points from the purport. So that will be the group exercise. Tomorrow, as soon as we start at 7 o'clock, we'll start with the breakout room, and you can have the discussions. And also, I have one more thing I noticed. I know you're all coming back from your work, and so it'll be difficult to have a Vaishnava attire. That is, I'm talking about the clothing. But at least I would like to have on everyone's forehead a tilaka. So if it is not possible to change your clothing to Vaishnavi clothing or Vaishnava clothing, but at least tilak, if you can kindly put, and because it brings, it changes the consciousness of what we are getting into, right? So yes, can we stop Rukmini Harisevini here?
Yes,
It
Mother.
is
Thank
9.
you so very
So
much.
I'll stop here. So please make the attendance order, and alphabetical order. And yeah, I want to know the names of the devotees also. Yeah,
Sure.
maybe you can send it by WhatsApp. So we'll
Sure.
stop here. We'll continue with text number 8 to 12 tomorrow. And please read the reading assignments, means the rest of the purport will be very helpful so that we can relate to what we are discussing. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Okay, Hare Krishna. So see you tomorrow. Gaura nights to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Mataji. Thank you so much. Pranam
Hare
to all.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Pranam.
I'm not able to
Dandavat
read.
pranam.
Yeah.